Hello and welcome to another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. On this day, September 1st, in 1859, was the date that the Carrington event occurred. That was a geomagnetic solar storm. I read one write-up where it said the day that the sun touched the Earth, and it fried all electrical apparatus at the time, overloading whatever very low-end technology we had in the 1850s. If such a solar event happened today, it would cripple our way of life. At the time, it was said that telegraph machines would run for, I don't know if it was days or weeks, on their own, like they were so charged with energy or something like that. Anyway, point is, we live in a very violent and overwhelmingly powerful universe that we barely even have scratched the surface on, certainly in our lifetimes, if not in the scale of human existence compared to the universe. And that reminds me, I think I had this, what was it, like earth science in middle school or something? I don't know. But I definitely remember raising my hand in some very low-end science class in probably not middle school, but maybe it was high school. Could have been high school. Where the teacher was explaining the scale of time, which even goes back to what we were saying the other week about like William Hope Hodgson and H.P. Lovecraft and the scale of the human being to the scale of the universe, or the scale of like the time frame of the universe. Just how unbelievably infinite it is in comparison to us, and we are just this tiny grain of sand. And if you could internalize that, it would be quite frightening, right? Perhaps even like to the point of madness of Lovecraft's characters. Anyway, so I remember raising my hand in this class and was like, wait, but I don't get this. So they're talking about the scale of the universe, or maybe like how, you know, like here's the timeline of Earth, and like, you know, it was for this long just water, for this long, you know, like molten lava, for this long it was like Pangea, for this long it was the dinosaurs, for this long, and at the end here's this like tiny sliver, and at the very end of this huge timeline it's like, well, this is the dawn of man, is like over here. And so basically what the teacher was saying was, well, no, I think I was comparing two different points together. So comparing the scale of the timeline of the Earth to human existence, to if you can like experiment in a laboratory and say, I've done this 18 times and I think the 19th time here's what's going to happen, is to say, if you were to combine those two ideas, that like we as a species have only existed on the planet for like a fraction of a moment, and so therefore like we haven't had any laboratory time to experiment on anything. So whatever our thoughts are on like what tomorrow's going to bring, or like the next moment are going to bring, is based on nowhere near enough research to say that for sure. Yeah, I probably got sent to the principal for disrupting the class or something like that. But as I'm thinking about it, it's like still true, right? Yeah, and the Carrington event is just another example of how violent and chaotic the universe could be, right? Yeah, so anyway, also on this day in 1922, Yvonne DiCarlo was born, Mrs. Lily Munster, among other things. If you don't know the Long Losts, check out the band The Long Losts. They have a terrific ode to Mrs. Lily Munster. Keeping in the same vein as Creepy Women, why, Earth to Draculon on this day in 1969, the comic book Vampirella premiered. Ta-da! Ta-da! That's the cover there. Repro oil painting of Vampirella #1, as created, or maybe co-created, by none other than famous Monsters of Filmland magazine's Forrest J. Ackerman, Uncle Forey himself. Also on this day, 1978, the film Dawn of the Dead premiered. George A. Romero. And that's my favorite of the trilogy, of the Dead trilogy. And on this day in 1979, just 1 year later, 45 Grave played their first show. I don't know why I'm talking like Corey Ackerman. I guess I've got 40 on the brain. Yeah, anyway, so there you go, September 1st. That's what you get to do for the next hour and change. Sorry I'm so late, but maybe tomorrow will be a little earlier, so that way you can spend the whole day ruminating on these various dates that really rate here for today's Decay. Until tomorrow.